Welcome to the... Wait, what are we doing? Wait, what? Where are we? Oh, welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Friday, the 1st of November, and I'm your host, Shozen. Says so there on the notes, and today my co-host is Bogul. Says that on the notes too.
Hello.
How you doing, Bogul?
Yes, sir.
We were just talking about how I've done this intro. Oh God, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 500 times, and still can't say it without
One day
without reading
we'll be
it.
professional.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be professional. So, what do we have on the news today, Bogul? What do we have on the news today, and the official news?
We do have a few PSAs, a tiny bit of official news, a reminder, and later on in the show we will have a tiny bit of F in chat where it shows and talks about interesting developments, but the big part of today's show is an interview with Asterial of the Guild Lastly Superior, which is a very cool thing that we recorded just prior to today.
Yep, just this morning.
And we are very happy to show that later on.
Yeah.
But shall we get started?
Yeah, let's get started with the news. Yesterday, we had a mule death. Oh, was the day before yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday was... whatever. It's in the PSAs. It says on the notes, it says happened yesterday, Bogul.
Yeah, that's a copy paste from the day before. No, it doesn't.
Okay. Oh, the event happened. So the day before Halloween, which is the 31st, the day before that we had the death race, right? And it was the finals. And we talked about that yesterday. We showed the finals yesterday. And did somebody win that? Did they figure out who finally won?
Yes.
That's what happened, yes.
We do have a list. The first place was Arlenzano. Second place went to L Forward. And third place went to Smoke Criminal. And another 7 other people won as well. That said, the first 3 won a nice bit of gold. And it was part of the official Halloween events, I suppose. We do have another one that we should mention on the show today, which is the ongoing Albion All Hallows art contest. That is a nice little forum contest by Mythoseria. I will post the link in chat as well. There we go. And for this one that is still ongoing, you can win up to 6 months of premium status and a nice in-game Horse Macabre skin.
Where's that dancing Bob?
If you do submit a nice image or animated image. We have a few entries already, but this contest will still run until Thursday, November 7th. There are a few more entries if you scroll down a little bit, so we can show them off potentially. But that it is for reminders. We do have one more thing that also sort of is a rerun, but since today is the 1st of November, the new month started. It is time for a new adventurous challenge, and this time around we get a repeat, Shozen.
Yes, we do get to see the pest lizard.
The Grim Challenge, as it is called, where we get one of my favorite mounts.
Your favorite mount? Whose favorite? Like, a lot of people love this mount. This is a good one.
It's the fastest mount in game in terms of just quickly running around because it doesn't have a gallop. It just has insanely very fast base movement speed. And for me, who likes to refill Labor books, it's very good because I need to mount up and mount down a lot. So it's my favorite thing. A lot of people love it for gathering as well. And now we have another chance to get it back.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. When we were talking about like things coming back, this is one of the ones that I want to see come back that people can use and just be able to use it instead of its price just keep increasing as like a collectible and it just stops being used. This is a good one. And if it's in rotation, people will use it. And items in games should be used, not collected. Yes, you can be a collector and you can collect all your items, but I would rather see people actually using the items that are available to them and enjoying them out in this PvP game where, yes, stuff gets destroyed. So I understand why you're scared, but now that you can get it again, now it should be used again, and that's awesome.
Yes, I do very much agree. And there's also a tiny bit of new thing to this whole Adventurous Challenge, because the border, the avatar border that you can get this month is the same as it was last time. And in case you already have it, you can now trade that border in and salvage it and change it for a adventurous token. And that adventurous token can be along the line changed in for new different things. And that's new. And that's cool.
Yeah. All right. So we do have this very long interview that we're going to play today. I think this is that's all the news, right, Bogul? Did we get through it all?
Yeah.
Did we
I think so.
We just did all the news in under 5 minutes, Bogul.
Well, it's mostly a few reminders.
Yeah, it's a few reminders, a few PSAs. We've got a few things. There's not a lot new other than the new challenge has begun, but the new challenge does give us some a great reward, one that people have really enjoyed in the past, and I'm glad to see back. Now, it's F in Chat Friday, Bogul, so you know what that means, right?
Depending on the week.
Well, yeah. Well, this week we're gonna F in Chat to my career, because well, Bogul, there's a petition out there.
Oh, that.
Yeah, there's a petition
to replace one of the two, right?
Yeah, there's a petition to replace me as host on this show, and I don't know if I can handle it.
With whom?
Well, actually, that was what was funny. So I looked into seeing out who it was. This guy made 17 posts about me, one other post about Albion, and the rest of all of his posts going back for like a year are about Crowfall.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. I get it. This game is not for him. This game, like, you're not going to get flowers every time. I'm not going to be super sweet to you. I'm not going to, greet you at the door with candy and tell you that you're the greatest person in the world just because you showed up to play the game. That's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to treat you kind of like everybody treats each other. We're all a little bit salty here. We all have a good time. We kind of pick on each other. And we shit talk each other quite a bit. I mean, we have the shit talk chamber, for, goodness sake. And people love that. It's amazing. We have a great time in there. It's kind of what this game is.
I don't go there.
Yeah, Bogul doesn't. It's a little rough. But you don't have to go there. And there are places where you can go in this game. And, it gets a little rough. And if this game is too rough for you, because it's a rough game, there are, there's more family-friendly alternatives for you. But you're not going to get that from me. I'm not going to change. It's gonna be the same way. But here's the thing. Like I told Asterial, when I make fun of him, it's not personal. It's about the banter. It's about having a good time. It's about, being able to engage back and forth. Now, if I do something that upsets one of you particularly, and you particularly have the thing against what I said about you, not about somebody else, about you, we'll address that. We'll talk. And I'm generally pretty nice, because I think of this pretty much like a wrestling thing where there's good guys and bad guys, and we all make it up and have a story as we go. It's just freaking banter. If you take it personally, I can't help you there. That's outside of what I can do for you. So F in chat for my career, because clearly it's going on. But we did want to make a warning for all of you, a little bit of a PSA. Anybody who signs like one of those petitions, through what is it, petition.org or whatever it is?
I think it's through change.org, and I was looking around, and if you put in your real name, the person who made that petition might just got all your information and sort of doxed you.
Yeah, so be careful with that. Just a PSA. But we do have a really good interview with Asterial coming up. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'm going to throw out a bunch of raffles during the show. And I hope you guys win and have a good time. You can check us out Monday through Friday right here on twitch.tv/Albion Online. And let's see, we can also find me on SoundCloud, on YouTube at /Albion TV. Isn't that right, Bogul?
Yes, it is. Who are we interviewing again today,
Asterial. Asterial is the GM of Vastly Superior, one of the guilds that was a huge contributor to June's season victory. And as you know, I picked on almost everybody in Daddy all the time because I said that, the whole good guilds meme. So yeah, we can all have a good time. We can give each other a little bit of banter, and it's okay. And this is a pretty good interview, if I do say so myself. So we're gonna get right to it. Thank you, Asterial, for putting up with us for a season of talking smack to you, and then having a pretty good interview afterwards. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and we will switch over to it now.
Show the guild, and I will link his Twitch as well.
Awesome. Welcome to Albion TV Presents the Interview Series. Today we are interviewing Asterial, the GM and founder of Vastly Superior, who you can find pretty regularly on his Twitch stream at VS_Asterial. So yeah, definitely check that out. And Asterial, I don't know much about you. All I know is that you are a member, now I know that you are the GM of Vastly Superior, and all I know about Vastly Superior is that they are clearly a good guild because they were accepted into Daddy. What can you, what can you tell us about your history? Where did you guys come from? What got you to where you are, which is now one of, you're one of the top tier now. I would say you're a top 10 guild and have been performing very well throughout the last season. How did you get here? What got you to this point?
Well, certainly. So VS started around the preseason going into season 4. Since then, we honestly were just working on ZVZ stuff, trying to build up the Zerg and whatnot. One of the things that I pride ourselves in is the fact that VS didn't start with a core of players like 90% of these guilds did. I built VS from the ground up. I started it, a little bit after this, or we really started going hard after the Steam launch. And a lot of our core players are either Steam launch players or free-to-play players. So whereas a lot of these guilds started off with, a core of like 10, 15 players, we didn't. And we were still one of the top guilds. I personally started off I was in Team Casualty, ended up leaving. So
which Team Casualty was this? Which iteration? Because there's been 5 of them now?
Original TC.
Okay, so original TC before Bangers came in and took over?
Yeah, when it was good. When it was good.
Okay.
So yeah, I started off there. I ended up leaving. I kind of hopped around a bit after that. I was trying to find, quote unquote, forever home on the game. I ended up finding myself in PoE where I actually started shot calling on a major scale. And that didn't last too long. That was around the time when PoE was, inviting squad into the alliance and we were doing castles with them and whatnot. So I ended up leaving over to BA. A couple of my guys and some other players ended up going over to BA where I really started shot calling on a larger scale. I quickly became a war master in BA and I was shot calling there for a good while. I learned a lot from Mojo and Knight. And then I just, I got this fire in me. I wanted to, really focus on something of my own. And I ended up, taking VS to the next level. And it just started going up from there, man. We kind of, we consider ourselves nomads. If we're not getting content somewhere, we go elsewhere and find it. That's why our good friend Momono likes to say we hop around alliances, which is true. It's fair.
Well, Momono hops around a bit, doesn't he? He
does.
Yeah, so,
he does.
Yeah.
He does. It's just banter. Yeah. I love it. But yeah, so we kind of hopped around. We were in squad. We've been in, we were in EOS. We've been all over the place. I don't really tend to get into the beef, oops and, squad or anything like that. We're here to have fun, here to get content and, all of the above. So this season we came to Daddy. We were the first guild to join Daddy. We actually created it with Goof. So we were actually the first guild that was dropping castles to him and whatnot. It was nice. I enjoyed it, and Goof led very well. Obviously, there were some questionable guilds added, but we can get into that a little bit later. All in all, we've just been trying to improve our Zerg and work on our community and just continue to rise.
Awesome. So you guys have been everywhere. You've gone from obscurity. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like I had heard of you guys, but when you were in Anglia, I really, it was just like I would see the flag, that's it. I would see the flag. I didn't really, it's very, very hard to follow the average Anglia guild.
Right.
But once you guys joined Daddy and, legitimately claimed to be a good guild, because like I said, I was told that everybody who joined Daddy was a good guild, and that was the reason for forming Daddy, was to make an alliance of only good guilds.
I can shed some light on the us being an Anglia thing. We were actually I believe we were one of the first guilds to actually move to Anglia for the content. Before BA moved out there for the content, before Take Care moved out there for the content. That's why we were in Anglia, was because we knew where the content was. We had traveled over there for a couple war camps, and we were fighting horde Zergs. We were out there when TBI was a thing, so we were fighting like 50 versus like 200. We were winning. It was just a lot of fun. That was the only reason we left. A lot of people said that we were a failed Cumbria guild. That's why we went out there, where the content was dead everywhere else.
Yeah.
And that was the reality of it. So that's why we were in Anglia. But it was a lot of fun, and I think that's where we improved the most, was in Anglia.
Well, in Anglia, you will get fights, and they will be of a more variety of sizes. Like, you're not just going to get the massive fight of which everybody can draw the biggest group they possibly can, which is what you see in like a Siluria and a Mercia. You guys, there really is just too much. And does anybody actually fight in Cumbria right now?
Nah, not really.
No,
No.
I think, is Cumbria probably like the deadest continent that we have?
I would say it's right about on par with like Mercia right now, because Mercia is pretty dead as well. The only time we were getting content in Mercia was during outposts.
Okay. Like your average castle fight, would you actually get a few people to show up? Because I do know that like Squad had started doing some stuff recently, but they're not, like, it doesn't seem like anybody is really, especially during this off season, really fighting for anything of import. Like, it feels like everybody's kind of waiting.
relaxed.
Yeah, this is the most relaxed off season I've seen.
It's good.
And nobody's complaining about it. It's like, it's weird. Like, in the past, you would get off seasons, people would be like, there's nothing going on, this is the dead off season. And now people are like, no, we're getting ready, we got an event coming up. Shh, people got stuff to do. No, calm down.
Indeed.
It's been interesting to watch.
I'd like to bring it a little bit back, though, to the last season, because I'm personally very curious about how you see the season in terms of how you guys did, because you ended up, I think, in 7th place, right? That's pretty neat with Crystal and all.
Right.
And I wonder if you had like a little sort of look back at the season, if that's okay, or if you want to talk about that.
Yeah. Am I good to go now?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us all about it.
Okay. All right. So basically, we started off the season with a common goal. VS has never really been worried about hitting Crystal or anything like that. I think, the season before, 3 days before the season ended, we decided to hit gold. We got from 10K to 50K in 3 days. We really don't care about it. So going into the beginning of the season, when we grouped up with June, we decided that we were going to give them pretty much all of our castles, and we were not looking to get Crystal whatsoever. Well, it just so happened that towards probably the middle of the season, I realized that June was gonna win, or towards the middle of the war, rather. And all throughout that time, we had a very, very good GVG team. Our A team was probably, in my mind, the strongest team in the game.
Really?
or in not in the game. Let me rephrase that. Strongest team in Anglia Solaria.
Okay. And do you want to give a shout out to
people,
those guys who are a part of that 5-man team?
Horticultured, Ward Dealer, Crying BB, Quick Cast, and Skilda.
Awesome.
And then they had a sub named Puppy Love.
Oh, great!
They were very strong. The only team in Anglia that was giving them any sort of fight was Mr. Valo's team.
Okay.
Although they were working them pretty hard most of the time. It was shout out to Guerreros though. They kept the content going throughout the season for us. It was amazing.
Yeah, I gotta make a quick shout out to Guerreros too. I gave a lot of crap to them early on, saying that I just didn't see how they had possibly gotten up to like first place, because for the first 2 weeks, I believe they were in first. Yeah, they did well in keeping it up for the entire season. Unexpected and awesome. These guys deserve a shout out, and if I can figure out how to get an interview with those guys, I'll get one of them with them as well.
Yeah, coming from their neighbor, literally their neighbor. They're a good guild. They're a good guild. We fought them every day. We GVG'd them every day. Now we are more, I would like to say, friends than anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a good guild. A lot of people had no idea about them, but they're very good.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
But going forward, so our GVG team was probably the real kickoff that showed us that we could get Crystal. I mean, they got us to probably obviously we were mage rating every day.
Mm-hmm.
We enjoy that. We kind of use it to get ZVZ content. So our GVG team probably got us to around like 70K points on their own through crystals and they were fighting off level 7 towers pretty much the whole season. I know there was at one point you guys actually announced on the show that that VS had the highest crystal win percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when our A team was really going hard. So we hit about 70K points, and then we kind of realized, well, June's gonna hit number 1. This is towards the point where a lot of people were getting down about the whole like zone locking stuff and all that. So we started pushing castles again. We started mage rating. We started doing crystals at a larger scale, sending out 5 teams or so a day, and we just started pushing. We honestly did it without any help. I think June crystalled for us one time. But yeah, it was a wild season. It was definitely a season of growing. It was also, it took a lot out of the guild. I think any guild in the game, any GM in the game can attest for me when I say that getting crystal definitely takes a lot out of a guild, and a lot of the times a guild will have to regrow or rebuild after a crystal season because it just takes that much out of it.
It does. It's constant CTAs. It's constantly showing up every few hours on the hour to take care of business. And then on top of that, now the way that the points have been working, it seems like you have to actually defend your mages to really get there. You can't just do one of the 3 events. You can't just castle anymore. You can't just crystal GVG. You actually have to do the mages. And as we saw with June, how much points you get from defending those mages. You can keep them up on a few territories, huge amounts of points.
Oh, well, that's why it was the biggest alliance in the game, my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to have a whole guild defended, one little portion of the land, or else they were getting no points off of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How did you feel about that, by the way, being part of the largest? We'll discount Arch out of this. Because like they've always been Arch. Love Arch. Really like what they're doing. They've kind of changed their thing a little bit recently and getting a little bit more organized. It's kind of scary.
They're making cuts.
Yeah, did you see that 25 guilds the other day?
Hey, they're coming for us. They're coming for us. Watch out for them.
Oh, dude, I'm excited. I think Gluttony's a fun guy. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to end up doing with all this. So
most definitely.
Yeah, it'll be great. But how did you feel about being part of this mega alliance? Because it was like 8K at one point?
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Before I say anything, I don't dislike any of the guilds that were in there personally.
Well, they were all good guilds, right?
I'm not. I won't say that either. So the problem is that as a content guild, right? Having pretty much every ZVZ guild, aside from the ones that were in Oops, in one alliance, especially all in the same area, it really killed content for all of us. Throughout the season, we didn't get very much of any content, so it would really end with us having to, either go out to West Anglia, over by where phrasing is or something like that to try and find content. Because I mean, we had every ZVZ guild that would fight in Daddy on, this side. Obviously, for the larger portion of the season, June was holding, some Gluvia territories, Ala Siluria, and then, most of Cumbria as well. So having all of that area and then having all of the guilds that lived there before the alliance, in the alliance, it was a problem for content. So I personally didn't like it. There was a point where, we were actually thinking about, stepping out of the alliance because it was just, a lot of our members were
bored,
just bored with it. And, we've always prided ourselves as a guild that goes for the content, nothing else. We, don't really tend to get into people's, beef or drama. And we did. And it was hard on the guild. And I think that's a big part of it. It was the fact that we were just inviting everybody. And even though those guilds played a big portion in what happened during the season and why June won, I think it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. It's a game at the end of the day. You were here to have a good time. It turned into more of a job than anything is what it was.
Yeah, it's not fun to just have to be at a place and then not do anything.
Right.
That was I really hate the denial of content strategy for victory. And that's really the only time you'll ever really hear me talk in a very negative way about any particular guild. Like, if you're denying content to win, nobody's winning. You're not winning. You're not playing. You're just doing nothing. Yay for you and your points and locking out the zone. I cannot wait until that's no longer a viable strategy, period.
I personally don't think that's, those kind of tactics are deserving of a win either.
No, they're not.
And I look at it like, if, and I'm not talking about any one guild. I think if Money Guild would have won that way, I think they wouldn't have deserved it either. Obviously, I personally think that, everybody should have stepped out of the mix and just let Money Guild and June go at it throughout crystals and mage rating. Personally,
question.
That's why we created the alliance called Handholding is for Cucks, because I think it ruined the entire season.
So here's my question: because when I talked to Mojo about this past season, he didn't even feel like that the battle was between June and Money Guild. He felt that it was basically a proxy war for those final 10 days, because there was once Daddy became a super alliance, the war only lasted about 10 days. It was very short once the numbers got out of hand. And he says that it wasn't about June versus Money Guild. It was about TC versus Blue Army. It was about those two really big ZVZ powerhouses. TC had been talking so much smack because they were, saying that they were beating everybody, which they were. For a while, they were beating everybody. They were pulling 120 people as a single guild to ZVZs. And then they started talking smack to Blue Army, who at that point I feel like they were still on vacation. They're just kind of chilling, doing Anglia content just to have content. There's no CTAs or anything. But then they poked the bear, and then it created that mega alliance, not so much to stop Money Guild from winning, but from making TC eat its words. Say, yeah, you think you're so good because you're winning with numbers? Great on you. We can do that too. And they made a mega alliance that used TC's tactics against them. I don't want to completely discount TC's skill here, because they are, right now, I would say they're the best ZVZ guild if they were alone. And doing well, not right now. I would say, because right now they're in this breakup phase. They don't have Durity.
I would respectfully have to disagree with that.
Right now they're just not. But there was time towards the, like, I want to say week 7.
Oh yeah.
They were
most
the
definitely.
best. And then
Most
then they got challenged. Then they weren't able to handle the drama of being first and getting beaten. It is so
Now,
much harder.
I will say this.
Good.
Now, I will say this. Around that time, this is obviously before KFC lost meme and whatever. Pound for pound, KFC was the best CVZ guild. I think a lot of people can agree with that.
No, the thing is with KFC, unfortunately, is the quality of opponent that they would face regularly didn't get them the amount of respect that they deserve for the amount of effort and how good they were. You're right. KFC has done amazing things, and they deserve a lot of that.
When they would show up to the castles against even daddy guilds and even against Take Care, man, they proved why they were, pound for pound, in my mind, the best CVZ guild. And a lot of people will agree with that. I think Take Care for, comparatively speaking numbers, I think they were very strong. Definitely, if not first, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I think leadership is what kind of messed that up. They went from pulling like 120 members to pulling like 60.
30. Pulling 30 at times, man.
Well, now.
Yeah, like, I feel like as soon as... And here we're going to give Duratine some credit, but he does a really good job of keeping a guild's numbers high for activity. And that's something he's been very good at. And as soon as Ellipsis and Duratine had that falling out, I feel like I don't think that they can replace Duratine with Sorab.
I think Duratine's pretty good at jumping down people's throats, and then at the same time, kind of keeping the morale up. I think that's one of the things he specializes in, is the fact that if somebody does something ignorant or whatever the case is, he'll jump down their throat. But at the same time, they lose a fight or something, he definitely keeps the morale up. He's good at that. He's a very decent shot caller. I will say that.
Okay. So where do you see Vastly Superior going right now? Where do you see you guys going? I know it's the off season. Everybody's taking this off season off. Everybody's kind of chilling and relaxing. I think we needed it, to be honest. Like, oftentimes I'm like, God, really, do we have to have another off season? But this season, it feels like we almost need it. I feel like people just need a breath.
So where we're at right now is obviously with us hitting Crystal this season, it took a lot out of the guild. We have people that, we have quite a few people that went inactive. We're kind of rebuilding right now. I wouldn't say like completely rebuilding. We still, if we mass up, we'll still pull at least 50 or whatever the case is. So right now we're kind of, like I said before, I really pride ourselves on the fact that I like to pull in brand new players and teach them how to be good at ZVZ. For example, one of my best players, Macalicious Mac, picked him up when he had like 100K fame. In my mind, he's probably right there with Pliz as, one of the best brimstones in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're literally we're just training people up in ZVZ, trying to teach people how to drop their E's, so to speak. And I think we're going to be something to watch out for going into this event season. I definitely think we're going to be stronger than we were before. We kind of got rid of some players that weighed us down and kind of messed with morale.
Emotional baggage. You got rid of the emotional baggage.
Yeah. And I think now that we've gotten rid of these players, and we quickly replaced them with very, very good players. And I think going into this next season, we're gonna be definitely a force to be worried about. Towards the end of the season, we were fighting. For example, we had to fight a castle fight where we had AW with like 100 people on the east side and Take Care with like 60 on the west side. And we won that castle fight.
Mm-hmm.
We pride ourselves in the castle fight. That's our bread and butter, right? But we're right now we're trying to strengthen our open world ZVZ.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're at right now, is kind of trying to implement some more melee DPS into the front line and just kind of strengthen the open world in preparation for season 9. So that's kind of where we're at.
It's actually season 8. This current season, the event season, is going to be just known as the event season.
Oh, is
And
it?
then the next season is season 8, and that's going to be with the Queen update. And
Okay, okay.
if you guys sound like you're getting ready for the ZVZs, are you looking forward to this? Like you just mentioned, you're getting ready for it. How do you feel about what you've heard so far? Because I'd like to hear from somebody who's specializes in ZVZ. Do you feel like this is going to go well for you guys and be more fun, or do you feel like it's just going to be another flavor and it's going to be the same thing?
So one of the things that I like to take pride in for VS, and it's pretty much the same with BA, is we have quite a few really good shot callers,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my idea is that going into this Queen update, we'll be able to make 25, 30-man squads that are super lethal because we have the shot callers to spare, right? So I'm super excited to see what we can do with 25, 30-man groups and see what we can take and see what we can hold. Um, and then, obviously on the one front side of things, I think we'll be very strong. We are planning to, I don't want to drop too much details, but we're planning to ally with some very strong guilds. Something new, something, complete, an alliance that hasn't been seen. So going
Like an
into
alliance that
season 8,
hasn't been seen before, period, or one that hasn't been seen in about like
period.
18
New
months. Oh,
guilds,
okay. All right.
new guilds. Obviously, uh, players that have been playing for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll be an alliance comprised of guilds that haven't been allied before, and I think it'll be very strong. It'll be
That's
very strong.
you say a couple of interesting things there, but first I want to touch on one of them because I've heard this now from a couple of different guild leaders, is that they're trying to make squads of about 25 to 30 players to really be the force that they're going to use in this in Queen in season 8, and that they plan on having smaller ZVZs, even though everybody is aware that we're going to have like you're going to be able to use a smart cluster queue so you can get 400 people to fight over a single zone, and we're going to have
Right.
the combat debuff for large, or Zerg debuff, if you will, for very large groups. And so people seem to really already be planning this 30 40 man groups. Do you hear this from other guild leaders as well?
Well, I haven't really spoken about it too much with any other guild leaders aside from maybe one or two. But I can say this: if they have their head screwed on right, then they'd be thinking the same way. Um, going in, going into the Queen update, having a large Zerg is not the play. It's not the play. The play is being able to split with lethal groups of obviously smaller Zergs, and being able it's this is specifically speaking if you're going for territory control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in my mind, the play would be splitting with 25, 30-man lethal groups and taking as much as you can and seeing what you can hold. Now, if you're just going for content or whatever the case is, then yeah, maybe having a larger Zerg would be okay. But with the Zerg debuffs and whatnot, I don't think it's a good idea to bring a large Zerg, because what if they realize, oh, well, they got this, X amount of people, we're gonna, pull, 20, 30 people out of the zone and kind of mow them down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really do believe that the 25, 30-man groups is the way to go. But I haven't talked about it with too many people. I assume that's what most people are going to be doing.
I've heard a couple of different strategies. I've heard people talk about using instead of focusing on a single time zone, using an area that has access to 3 or 4 time zones right around each other, so that you can put your full defense force in each zone, or a larger defense force in each zone, and focusing on smaller territory numbers, like between 4 and 8, so that you can occupy 3, maybe 4 time zones, but defend yourself in each one of those, as opposed to picking a singular time zone and having to spread out your forces all during that time zone. It's been interesting, the different strategies I've heard from different GMs, and but the consensus does seem to be that you're going to have more shot callers ready to engage in smaller ZVZs than we've had before, but also expecting very large Zergs to come through basically once a day.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Excellent.
Have you looked at any area that you'd like to live in, or did your plans go that far yet, where you say, "Oh, I sort of like this area," or "This could be interesting," or are you just waiting it out to see how people will, shuffle around and then pick a spot, or do you have
Well,
specific plans already?
to
I
be
know you
honest,
can't talk about it, but
yeah, that's not something I would go into full detail about. I will say that being that the game is kind of turning towards ZVZ focused, I think that kind of leaves guilds like VS and guilds like the ones that we're playing an ally with. It kind of opens up a broader horizon for us, so to speak. So I guess it's really up in the air right now. But no, we haven't really confirmed an area for us to kind of focus on. But I will say this: I do think any area that we do plan to focus on, against any alliance, I think it will either be a bloodbath on both sides, or they're just going to get mowed down.
that sounds fun.
I like the confidence. We don't have much time left in this interview, but I do want to give you an opportunity to do some shout outs or anything like that, or talk about any of the great players in Vastly Superior, because you guys, you've got that great GVG team. You said you have a number of shot callers. Do you want to give your shot callers a shout out, or do you want to keep them secret so nobody comes and poaches them?
Well, I'll give one of them a big shout out, because I know he's got VS on his chest. He always says it. I'd like to shout out Julia. Someone called him the Don. He's been a big help this season. Very good for morale, and definitely a very good player. And that'll definitely be one of the people leading our little lethal squads going into this season. I'd also like to shout out our Locust line. I think, and I have, this is, complete honest, not me just, shooting the shit. I think our Locust line is probably the best in the game. These guys are always in TeamSpeak with each other. They have a channel dedicated to kind of helping the other Locusts out. They have a whole kind of rotation that they do. They're just so organized and so lethal with the their Locust drops. I mean, towards the end of the season, they were stopping every bomb from coming in on us. They're really a force to be reckoned with. Our Locusts, big shout out to those guys. Ishmael, Relhaz, Alistrai, those guys. They're great. And also big shout out to the VS Strongmen. We have a lot of players that kind of play a big brother role to the newer players in our guild. And big shout out to those guys, because we wouldn't be anywhere without them.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Asterial. I really appreciate having you on. It's great to hear where you guys came from. It's very hard for me to figure out where everybody comes from. There's so many guilds that rise up the ranks every season. That it's good to hear from somebody who says that they have a huge mix of different type of players. Because like you said, you have a huge number of free-to-play players, a bunch of guys, from before, people from all different guilds, all coming together and just enjoying themselves. Do you think that's because of the culture you guys have kind of brought about? I think this is where I want to end it. I just want to talk about the culture inside VS and how you guys all get along.
Well, we consider VS a family. It's more than just a guild on on Albion. We're a community at the end of the day. We really pride ourselves on the fact that we're pretty low on the toxicity rate. We're not that toxic. A lot of guys that enjoy ZVZ don't want to be in a toxic guild, or else they'd be in Take Care. You know what I mean? So I think we tend to get the members that are a lot more laid back and whatnot. And that's why I kind of touched on the fact that we, as you called it, emotional baggage, we got rid of them. And I think people just enjoy being in VS for the simple fact that it's more of a community-based guild. We value everybody. There's no one person valued any more than any other VS member. And we kind of just have a good time, man. We focus on, the fun aspect of the game first before anything else.
That's awesome. Are you guys recruiting?
Of course.
And where can people find you? We talked about your Twitch channel a little bit. You want to give yourself another plug?
Yeah, you can find me at VS_Asterial on Twitch. I have commands set up to where if you want to come check out the Discord and, drop an application or whatever the case is, just !Discord on my Twitch channel. You can come apply to be a strong man today.
Excellent. That sounds awesome.
Right.
I think we'll get a few people to apply for this position because it sounds like Vastly Superior has some good plans. Sounds like it's run by a level head, and you guys have the right idea about content, keeping it, relaxed, chill, and not, being toxic. Sometimes that does just wear on people over a long period of time. And if you, like you said, you want a forever home, sounds like Vastly Superior is a place where a lot of players could really enjoy themselves for a long time to come. So thank you, Asterial. I really appreciate having you on. I'm glad we got to learn more about you and your guild and how the season worked for you guys. We got an interesting view on Daddy as a whole. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for just showing up. I appreciate it.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man. It was a good time.
Excellent.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we will try to do this again soon. I tell you what, we'll try to. I try to do a second interview every few seasons with players. So maybe I'll try to get a hold of you after season 8 and see how things worked out for you in the new map and the new world.
All right, I'd love it. Sounds good.
All right, have a good one. Peace.
All right, man. You too.
All right, the interview has. All right, that was my interview with Asterial of Vastly Superior, who is currently on screen and running around on his stream. We're going to head over to his stream in a little bit, but I wanted to just talk to chat a little bit, make sure everybody got their raffles, and just make sure little boy knows that I'm just doing that for the screens, man. I just think it was a perfect opportunity. We need to relieve some of the pressure off of Virgin because he's been taking too much of a beating in the memes lately. And I feel like I need to tell somebody else to zip it just so we can, help, relieve some of his pain. And you seem like you could take it a little bit. All right, let's do one more raffle.
I've been watching these dudes on stream ganking the whole time. This seems way too easy. And I think running with a group like this sounds fun too. Looks pretty cool.
Oh, don't worry. You guys are, little boy, you're already in the raffle. I'm just pulling from the existing list that we have. I just wanted to give some more people a chance to get in. I saw the numbers popped up right after I pulled the raffle. And so, 5 people didn't get in the raffle. And I just thought, oh, you know what? Heck, I'll just pull 2 more and give a couple more 3750s out to people. Why not, right?
All right. Okay.
Let's see. We have Undepth, and last one is, let's see, X Devtro. All right.
Yeah, I think that's it for the show today, Shozen.
Yeah. That's it. I don't think there's anything else we have to do. We're going to go ahead and raid this guy, though, so that he gets some points. He started streaming again, and I'm trying to, promote a lot of these guys who are longtime players who are back to streaming. It's been nice to see a lot of them come back to streaming. We did lose a few of our good streamers due to, put an F in chat for poor Sorap. I mean, shaking my head. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, Monday through Friday, right here at 18 UTC. And you can catch us also on Tuesday through Thursday. We do GVGs and Crystal GVGs for another hour and a half. You can check those out. We are going to try to get in more Monday streamers, like where I bring in somebody to do just a test stream, hang out, do some free streams, cast some fights. I do it for free, and I don't pay whoever comes on. Don't have it in the budget, but we try to give some more people a shot. And I'm gonna try to get Derek to come on and cast. He said he wanted to do it, and if he's willing to behave, I would love to frickin' hear this guy cast. I think it'd be amazing. So I'm gonna try to work that out with him and see if he's up for it, because you know what? He just started his new streaming career. We got to give him some opportunities. All right, but first, let's go raid this guy. Thank you guys for showing up today.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'll give Wolfo a shout out. Well, I think I've actually started the raid already. I don't know if we're still here, but yeah, Wolfo. Yeah, definitely check his stream out earlier in the day. All right, here we go. Raiden, say hi to this guy.